Today, we're going to be talking about how to structure an inside sales team. One of the most forgotten elements of a successful sales team is structure. The correct structure could mean hundreds or thousands of dollars to your organization. But what is the right structure for your sales team or your organization? Well, today, I'm going to answer those questions thoroughly. Most salespeople, when they hear the word structure, they shun away from it, they run from it. But the absolute best sales teams I've ever seen thrive under a quality structure, one that fosters competition, compensation, and achievement. Today, I want to outline that structure for your inside sales team. First, I want to dive into the type of environment where sales thrive. Next, I want to talk about structure. And finally, I want to dive into the elements within that structure that creates a thriving environment for sales to really shine. If you're ready, let's go. So what type of environment best fosters a great sales organization? Well, number one, I believe everything starts with culture. If you have a positive, winning, energetic, happy, thriving, complementary culture, you're going to see people that thrive, that want to be part of it. And people wanting to be a part of something in and of itself is kind of like that high tide that raises all ships, right? That energy helps everybody around you, and everyone around you starts to thrive and raise up together. And being part of something like that, part of that culture, falls under three categories. I like to call the 3 B's. So they feel like they believe in themselves. That's called believe, right? Believe is the first one. The second one is belong. They're part of something. They want to belong to that. They want to be a part of it. So believe, belong. And the final one is become. If they're part of something that's winning, that's energetic, they are ultimately thriving and becoming a better version of themselves. So if we can create an environment or a culture that is believe, belong, become, chances are you're going to have a winning culture. And that type of environment fosters great sales organizations. I think culture is something that permeates not just the workplace, but everything. As I mentioned, I love coaching athletes. I coach a wrestling team. One thing that I've been a big proponent of is culture within that room. The same type of culture I want in my companies is the same type of culture I want in my sports organization. So we try to foster those same things. And when I first started coaching, there was probably about 25 kids that belong part of the team. This year, we've got 75 kids that are part of the team, right? So that environment attracts more people, like-minded individuals. They believe, they belong, and they become something. And that type of culture is a winning culture for any type of organization, whether it's athletics, whether it's work, whether it's part of a community group. Culture is vital. It's something that we've really believed in, the culture, for a long, long time. The company that I own, we've been on the best places to work for the last 7 years in a row. And those are votes that are based off of Glassdoor ratings, which are anonymous. So you can go and look how employees rate yourself on Glassdoor or your organization. And based off of those ratings and cumulative ratings, you're placed on the best places to work. And we've consistently been in the top 5, as high as number 2. So what is the best structure? And once you have a culture in place, let's talk structure. So when it comes to a sales organization, I've seen this structure work best, where you have a manager or a team leader at the head of that organization, head of that team. And we're going to talk at a micro level first. So we're talking a team environment. So a team leader. Underneath that team leader, you have individuals that are doing the closing part of the sale, right? Those are the directors. Those are the closers. Underneath the closers, you've got prospectors, right? These are individuals that are doing those initial calls. They're probing for people to see if they're interested in the program, the educational program. That's what we do in our organization. And that really flows well because you have these prospectors leading to the directors, ultimately overseen by the team leaders. Now, one other key element we threw in many years ago that we really like is some of those directors are now assistant team leaders. And underneath them, we have 3 or 4 prospectors. Now, that creates a nice little competition within the team, but they're all part of the same team working together, and they're overseen by a team leader. Plus, having an assistant team leader shows a career path. So it shows a career path for the prospector, knowing that, hey, if I work hard enough, if I succeed, I can be an assistant team leader. It shows the assistant team leader, if I keep doing well, I can become a team leader. And naturally, in our organization, that is what we've done. When we've had the opportunity to grow and progress, we've moved an assistant team leader off of a team to create their own team. And eventually, if this team leader is creating a bunch of team leaders, it then becomes a division manager over 3 or 4 or 5 teams. And so it's a natural progression, and it shows career advancement for those within your sales organization. Now let's talk competition within that sales organization. I think healthy competition is great. Whether you're in athletics, whether you're in an organization, whether you're in sales, competition can drive performance. And the right structure that fosters competition is super important as well. But also, fostering an environment where they can compete against themselves is also important. So one thing that we used to do, we used to post stats, and we still do. We post stats on what is their 3-week average, their 6-week average, their 12-week average. So number one, they can see how they compare to everybody within the organization, but they can also see if they're improving on a 3-week, 6-week, or 12-week basis. Having having that visible and available really drives competition not only within themselves, but within others. We usually give rewards and bonuses and spiffs on those who are leading those charts. Also, praising milestones, right? If somebody hits their personal best, or if somebody breaks the company record, those are things that should be rewarded with milestones. You know, one thing that was kind of neat, we would do competitions or we would do spiffs or incentives where, hey, here's your current 6-week average. We're going to do a competition for the next 6 weeks. If you can beat your previous 6-week average, you're going to get a bonus of X or a multiplier on your sales of X. That type of competition within oneself drove some great sales performance. So that structure that drove competition really helped our sales improve and thrive. Now let's talk compensation. This can be a little bit tricky, right? Well, first off, is there a base? Is there a guaranteed minimum? What does your compensation look like? So let's talk about these. So there's probably 3 different options that you have. There's a commission only, right? This is the environment where they only get paid if they get commission, right? If they get a sale, they get paid. If they don't get a sale, do they get paid? Now, I'd caution you to be very careful because in most states, you have to pay at least a minimum wage guaranteed base if somebody is working for you, right? You can't have somebody work all week long, not get any sales, and give them 0 for that week. That goes against most labor boards. So I caution you to find out the rules for your area and be very specific. But even if it is guaranteed with a minimum wage base, most people don't want to work for that, right? So they're driven, they're motivated by commission only. The other one is a base plus, right? So this is where maybe the commissions that they get aren't as high as a commission only because you're paying them a base, but that base should not be something they can live on alone. It should be something that motivates them, right? They've got a lot of their base need covered, but by getting sales on top of that, it's really going to increase their ability to make money. So a base plus commission can be a great thing. You just got to make sure that the structure of that compensation plan is one that drives more sales and competition within your organization. Another one that I like, and this is one that I'm a fan of, especially if you got a salesperson that's just a go-getter, it's a guaranteed minimum. You know that if they work for 4 weeks in a row, they're going to be guaranteed a base minimum for that 4-week period of time. They might have a week where they do really good. They might have a few weeks where they don't do as well, but they know they're going to be taken care of. And usually this is something where I've seen almost 95% of the time, if you have the right individual under this compensation model, they always outdo their guaranteed minimum because they're the right individual. So if you put this in place, it has to be the right individual to be able to thrive under this type of environment, this type of structure. Finally, just to recap, I think that structure within a sales organization creates all the elements you want. You want competition, culture, environment. If you have that in place where you believe, belong, become, and the structure really drives towards that, you're going to see success in your sales organization. And the last thing that I'll say is if you can give bonuses, if you can give spiffs and incentive based off the company's objective, good things will happen. One thing that we like to do, if we receive success stories or testimonies that are really powerful, we like to reward those individuals that are all involved in creating that success story. So aligning the structure of your organization with the things that you want and passing that on to your organization and rewarding them when that happens, great things start to happen. So these are things that I've seen to help create structure. I would love to hear what things you've done to create structure that fosters sales, culture, and environment. And I would love to see your comments below and engage in a dialogue with you. And as always, I'm giving away my free Sales and Persuasion, my 12-part course below. Click on the link, aaronsSalesTraining.com. Once again, thanks for stopping by and watching.